So what if I told you that one of the most powerful financial tools you'll ever own is probably just sitting in a drawer somewhere completely ignored? Yep, I'm talking about your payslip. Today we're going to pull back the curtain and see what banks and wealthy people see in that very same document, something that most of us completely miss.
And wow, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Your payslip and your bank statement. They're like the two most honest friends you have. They don't lie, they tell the real story of your priorities, your habits, and yeah, the future that you're actually building for yourself, right this very second.
All right, so let's talk about this secret power. What is it really? Well, it all comes down to a huge difference in perspective. It's the difference between looking at your payslip and just seeing your take-home pay versus seeing it as a detailed blueprint of your total earning power. And trust me, once you get that difference, that is the first real step to taking back control.
So here are the two sides of the story, right? On one side, you've got your view. This is what most of us see, isn't it? That one number that lands in our bank account each month. But then, look at the other side. That's the bank's view. They see a powerful assessment of your total financial value, your affordability. This is the number they use when they're deciding if you can get a loan for something big, like a house.
And that right there, that brings us to the core idea here, the gross income advantage. The big secret is to stop focusing only on what's left after all the deductions. You got to shift your focus to the total amount you earn, your gross income. That's where your real power is hiding. And it's the key that unlocks a whole new way of planning your finances.
You know, it's so common. Most people plan their entire lives around their take-home pay. And honestly, that's the first mistake. When we do that, we're basically playing with a limited deck of cards. It's such a common trap, and it's what stops so many of us from really using our income for all it's worth.
See, a bank doesn't just look at your base salary. No way. They're looking at your cost to company. That's the whole shebang. Your base pay, plus what your employer kicks in for your pension, maybe a car or a phone allowance, all those other little benefits. That total number, that's a much truer picture of your real earning power. Seriously, grab your own payslip later and see if you can find these things. They're often hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so how do we actually start thinking like a bank? How can you get a quick, honest snapshot of your own financial health? Well, there's a really simple but powerful way to do it. It's called the 3 buckets framework, and it'll show you exactly where your money is going right now.
It's pretty straightforward. Every single dollar you make goes into one of 3 buckets. First, you've got the survival bucket. This is all your daily living stuff, bills, groceries, debt payments, basically just what it takes to get through the month. Then there's the security bucket. This is about protecting your future. Think emergency funds, insurance, your pension. And finally, the growth bucket. This is the exciting one. This is for investments that actually build your wealth, like property or other assets. So the big question you got to ask yourself is, what's your ratio looking like right now?
And yeah, this is what it looks like for a lot of people. It's the survival mode trap. A whopping 90% or even more of their income is just going straight into that survival bucket, just covering the basics. That leaves, what, like 5% for security and 5% for growth? Barely anything. If this chart feels a little too familiar, believe me, you are definitely not alone. So, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If you're stuck in that 90% survival trap, feeling like you're just treading water, how in the world do you flip the script? How do you break out of that cycle and actually start feeding those other 2 buckets, the ones that are going to build your future? All right, let's get into the game plan. And listen, this isn't magic. It's not about winning the lottery. It's about making a few smart, strategic moves that can totally rewrite the story your payslip is telling about you.
It all starts with this one idea. Think of paying yourself first as a prerequisite to any spending you have to do. This is the absolute foundation. It's not a nice-to-have or a luxury for when you have money left over. No, it's a non-negotiable. You have to treat your future self as the most important bill you have to pay each month. So here it is, a simple 3-step strategy to start shifting your money. Step 1, pay yourself first. And I mean it. Commit to sending at least 10% of your income straight to savings or investments the second you get paid. Automate it so you don't even have to think about it. Step 2, maximize what your employer gives you. If they match your pension contributions, you take every single penny of that. It's literally free money growing tax-free for you. And step 3, you have got to get your biggest expenses under control. This is where most budgets completely fall apart.
And let's talk hard numbers for those big expenses. For accommodation, that's your rent or your mortgage, you want to keep it under 30% of your income, max.
Then, for your car payments and all other transport costs, that should be less than 20%. Sticking to these rules is absolutely crucial. It's how you free up the cash to feed your other bucket.
Okay, so let's circle back. This is where we started, right? 90% of your money is just trapped in survival mode. I know, it can feel pretty overwhelming looking at that, but stick with me, because we're about to see just how fast this can change when you have a real plan.
Now look at this. This is your goal after just 1 year of applying that 3-step strategy. You pay yourself first, you max out the pension, you get those big costs in line, and boom. Your survival slice drops to 70%, and your security and growth buckets jump to 30%. Shifting the full 20% of your income over, that is a massive leap forward toward financial stability.
But it gets even better. If you just stay disciplined, look at the goal for year 5. You have completely flipped the script. Now only 40% is for survival, and a huge 60% is going towards your security and growth. Just take a second and imagine that. Imagine a life where the majority of your income is actively working for you, building your wealth. That is what financial freedom starts to look like.
But really, what's the point of all this? Is it just about piling up money? Not at all. The ultimate goal, the real prize here, is buying back something you can't make more of, your time.
Yeah, that's what we're really doing here. We're buying time. Every single dollar you manage to move from that survival bucket over to the growth bucket, that's a direct investment in your own future freedom. It's about getting to a place where you can choose if, when, and how you want to work. Where you work because you want to, not because you have to. I think that's a goal we can all get behind.
And let's be super clear about one thing. This kind of change doesn't just happen by magic. It doesn't happen by, what's the great phrase? Divine osmosis. No. It happens because you have a strategy, and you have the discipline to actually see it through, day in and day out.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one last question. The next time you get your payslip, really look at it. Right now, it's telling a story. But after everything we've talked about today, you now have the tools to completely rewrite that story. So the question is, in 5 years, what story will your payslip tell? Will it be a story of just surviving, or will it be a story of freedom? The choice really is